speaking today with Jody Franklin. Jody and I had a chance to connect pretty recently. We actually connected a while ago, and then recently we circled back. And one of the things we were discussing in our conversation is the things that hold functional medicine practitioners back from being wildly successful. And you'll learn about her success as a practitioner and all the amazing things that she's doing. And a lot of that stems from our clinical confidence and the certainty that we have in our capability of being able to help and serve other people. And what she's done has built a successful referral-based practice, which ultimately is the holy grail. So yes, we need to perhaps do marketing and connecting and build relationships and networking and all those things to build our practice, which gives it the lift. But ultimately, what sustains our practice is the ability to create amazing outcomes and referrals from our happy and satisfied, healthy clients. So without further ado, I know you've got a lot to cover today, Jody, so I'll let you take it away. And once again, thank you for being here and taking time out of your day to help our community reach a whole new level of success.
Oh, thank you, Sachin. It's such an honor to be here. I love following your work. I have friends that are in your program that have absolutely raved about it. So thank you for having me on. And like you said, I haven't really done any advertising myself. I have built a full functional medicine practice via referrals from happy clients, and having really excellent clinical knowledge has been the key to the success of my practice. And even if you've had some functional training in the past, I want you to listen to what I have to say, because this will take your practice to the next level. And I can't believe it. I almost have to pinch myself sometimes to see how well I'm doing in this field now, where 8 years ago, I hadn't even heard of functional medicine. I hadn't even, I was struggling to get clients as a coach, and it was very, very difficult for me. Fast forward now, I've upped my rates tenfold. Not that it's all about that, but it's nice to have a very successful, lucrative practice. But I've also, more importantly, just increased my reach in terms of being able to help people on an entirely different level. People that come to me that are just so sick with whatever health issues they have, and being able to put them in full remission. And I'll explain a little more about that in just a second. And feel free, those of you who are joining us here on Facebook, go ahead and type your questions below. Give us some hearts if you appreciate what Sachin's done in bringing me on board today. And also, those of you who are on Zoom live with us, go ahead and you can type in your questions in the chat. I think I might have to enable the chat, actually. So bear with me for just a second while I do that. And you can just let us know what kind of practitioner you are if you'd like to do that as well. So you should be able to chat now. I'm just going to share my screen and get started. So anyway, today I'm going to be discussing with you 3 reasons you aren't totally crushing it in your holistic practice and what to do about it. But before we get started, I'd love you to silence the notifications on your phone. Don't fall prey to the myth of multitasking. Enter your questions in the chat so I can answer them at the end. And I'd like you to stick with me to the end, because I have solutions for you for a highly successful, fulfilling functional medicine practice. And I'm also going to gift you today a free course from my teacher on maximizing your clinical impact on thyroid dysfunction. And thyroid dysfunction is rampant amongst your clients. It's going to give you, even if you're a master at thyroid health, this is going to give you so many tips that you can take to your practice right away. And those of you who aren't really familiar that much with the thyroid, it's going to be so invaluable to you. And this is a free clinical course. So just stay with me and we'll show you how to take advantage of that. But today I'm going to discuss how to get a waiting list via referrals like I have, gaining functional knowledge and confidence so patients and clients are lined up to work with you, and also how to streamline and leverage your functional medicine into your practice so that you can maximize the results you're getting for your patients and clients, and also improve your bottom line, really. But this is me. I actually had an autoimmune disease for 20 years, which I suffered mightily. And like so many of us who get into this field, it was just inspiring to me to learn a little bit and start getting fewer symptoms. And I had researched and started cleaning up my diet and noticed that my symptoms weren't as bad. I had chronic urticaria, actually. It was just hives all over my body, and it was awful. I was up at night scratching till I bled. So this kind of led me to get really on fire about learning more and more. And so I went back to school to become a health coach. And I started my practice. And with my first few cases, I was way over my head. My very first client came to me for weight loss, and I was thinking, oh, I got this. I know what to do. And then I found out she had type 2 diabetes, a rash all over her skin, fibromyalgia, chronic diarrhea, and her pain was so bad she couldn't even cross her legs. And so I felt like I was over my head because even the dietary changes I was giving her wasn't solving some of her health issues. So I knew I needed more knowledge. And I charged very little in the beginning. I actually had a bit of imposter syndrome, thinking I don't know as much as I thought I did. And I didn't want to charge very much because I didn't think I was worth that much, honestly. But fast forward till today, I met my teacher, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the School of Applied Functional Medicine where I went, SAFM. I dove in because she was saying things that I had never heard before. She was teaching things that I thought I knew, but I didn't know. And I decided I'm going to do this school, whatever it is. I'm not really that sure what it is, but I knew I needed help. And so I went ahead and started learning, and I started getting confidence and competent at what I was doing. And I started getting results. That very first client, within a few weeks, her rash went away. Within 3 months, we reversed her type 2 diabetes. Her diarrhea was lessened, but not perfect. So we wound up doing a stool test and figuring out all the root causes of why she had diarrhea. We were able to stop the diarrhea. And then within 8 months, her fibromyalgia went away. Her pain was completely gone. She said it was so life-changing for her. And oh, by the way, she lost 20 pounds, which was her goal, but in the process got super healthy and told everybody about me. So it started skyrocketing, and those people were telling other people about me. And before I knew it, within my first semester at the school, I was able to quit my part-time job and start doing this work full-time, which was just amazing to me. And fast forward to today, I have increased my rates, as I mentioned, tenfold plus. I've expanded my practice, and I have a staff now. So I do the initial session, and I'll pass off a client to one of my staff people because I can't handle the onslaught of people that are coming to me that want to work with me. And those staff members I meet with periodically about my client load, but they really know what they're doing because they've been certified by the same school that I went to. So that I feel confident in their abilities to be able to work with my clients. And I also offer groups. So it's a great way to leverage. And I'll talk a little more about that in a minute. But bottom line, I became passionate, and people started coming to me from everywhere. People all over the world were reaching out to me. I mean, I don't even know how they hear about me. I have somebody in, I think it's North Macedonia coming to me, and I'm like, how did you hear about me? It's just really interesting to see where they're coming from and how they find out about me, but it's all word of mouth. This is one of my clients, Beth. She was one of my first clients, and within just a few months, we were able to help her get such relief. I worked with her for a full year, and you could see what a difference the before and after in terms of her physical appearance, but she reversed her fibromyalgia. She had such extreme fatigue and pain from her migraines and fibromyalgia that she was in bed by noon every day. She also had chronic hives on her body, GI issues, insomnia, depression, and obesity. And she was on several medications. Every day she was in bed by noon on Vicodin, and couldn't handle the extreme pain that she was suffering from. So I met with her. At first, I was nervous because she had been to a functional doctor, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm a health coach. This is my first semester in the school. Am I really going to be able to help her? But I was able to do it. And she said that, no one else has been able to identify all the issues that she was having. And within just a few weeks, her migraines were gone. She was able to put basically everything into remission, from her fibromyalgia to her Hashimoto's, her migraines, her urticaria, her GI issues. In fact, when I say Hashimoto's, we cut her thyroid antibodies in half on her lab work. Her doctor was blown away. He says he's never seen that happen before. So she became a walking billboard for me. She lost 90 pounds in the process of working with me. And that's the weight of her daughter on the bottom right. So you can imagine how much weight that is. But she gained so much energy. She's off all the medications, including the Vicodin, and feels fantastic. And since then has referred her husband to me, her brother-in-law, and several others. And those people have referred other people to me and so on. So it's really great to get results like this. So gratifying. But here's some others, and I just am trying to show you this to impress upon you what is possible. And even your most complex cases that you have, you're going to be so much more confident and competent in getting them results. So you can see on the top left, I have helped many clients reverse ADHD. This woman's son, when I asked her how bad his ADHD was on a scale of 1 to 10, she told me a 20. 3 months later, she told me 2. It was such a dramatic change. She's able to spend more time with her other children now. The kid is no longer going to be kicked out of school. The teachers think he's being medicated. And in fact, we've just done some lifestyle interventions and did some testing to figure out all the root causes, and we're able to reverse it. You can also see on the bottom left, we work with infertility. This woman was 46 and not able to have a child. And fast forward 3 months working with her, she got pregnant and had a healthy baby boy at 46. So it's amazing what is possible when you know what you're doing. She also reversed her anxiety and her eye twitch. You can also see some of these skin issues. You can see some urticaria reversed. On the bottom, you can see vitiligo. I work with a lot of people with vitiligo. That's the disease Michael Jackson has, where your skin depigments, and we put that into remission all the time. You could see some cases of diabetes here. And the young lady towards the right had chronic anxiety and panic attacks to the point where she was going to drop out of college. She couldn't function. And we were able to reverse it within 6 weeks, which is just amazing. And the woman on the far right, her hemoglobin A1C went from close to 7 down to 4.6 in 6 months. And you can see the dramatic difference in her looks. She's so much less inflamed and feels fantastic. In fact, we couldn't even get a full body picture because she was hiding behind her children. We could never find a picture. She has 8 children, and she just wouldn't get in a picture with any of them. And now she feels confident in being able to do that. So you get the idea of what's possible as asthma, allergies, just about any autoimmune disease. You're going to learn how to put all these things into remission. So what is SAFM? You're going to have confidence in your clinical skills to help people overcome diseases through root cause resolution. Even if you've had functional medicine training, you're going to learn the nitty-gritty details through practice, and getting case study after case study and real life case studies. You're going to learn how to do this work effectively. You're going to gain a skill set that, frankly, very few people in the world possess. I feel like I have a superpower now, in that when people come to me, I'm confident I can help them. And they practically cry when I tell them that, because a lot of people don't tell them that they can really help them. They're just not sure about it. The other thing you're going to do is learn, like I said, through case study after case study, how to use this knowledge and use functional medicine effectively in your practice. And not only that, but use it right away. People ask me, how long is this program? And it's it can be anywhere from two years and up, depending on how you pace it. That's self-paced, but you're going to learn that you can use it right away. So even after the first class, you can start implementing what you're learning into your practice. You are encouraged to do this. In fact, you have to have an active practice in order to go to this school. That's a requirement, so that you can start using it and learning it and growing as you're going. Plus, because Sachin is a referral partner of ours and has a big reach, we are offering, with his link, a chance to save $2,000 on the tuition. And this is good if you apply by February 8th. So it's about a week that you have if you decide to do this. If you really want to do it, just go ahead and apply. It's a $50 application fee. And payments for the school are very affordable. In fact, I made enough money my first semester to pay for not only SAFM, but for the health coaching school that I went to before that. So it was IIN. I made enough to pay for both, and I was able to quit my job. So it was just amazing what's possible if you take on private clients or patients while you're going through the school. You take on 1 or 2 private clients or patients, or sometimes 3, it depends what you're charging, it'll pay for the whole thing. So it's very good investment. The school is called, as I mentioned, the School of Applied Functional Medicine, and it is an online functional medicine training program that culminates in a certification in applied functional medicine. So people hail from 75 different countries that go to this school. There's all kinds of modalities, everything from doctors to nurse practitioners, PAs, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists, pharmacists, but also health coaches are allowed to come, which is great because a lot of schools in this level do not allow coaches. And about 80% of the students are medical professionals, but there are a lot of coaches and nutrition professionals in the school as well. But you have to have worked with at least 8 patients or clients in the last year. This counts nurses. If you've met with some patients today, that counts towards your minimum. So just know that you have to have an active practice, and you have to have a little bit of a biochemistry understanding and some other minor requirements. So you can look through those. I can explain those if anyone has any questions. But here's the kind of a layout overview of the program. You're going to learn in the first semester, this first row is the first semester, and then the second. So there's 2 semesters. There's an exam at the end of each, and then there's a final, basically level 3 exam, which is just answering questions about a case study and understanding the interconnectedness of the case. But level 1 is you're going to learn all about how to break down diseases and figure things out and figure out root causes. So this was just one of my favorite courses. It's eye-opening to figure out how you can do this work. And like I said, you can start implementing that right away. I'll explain more about mapping and puzzle piecing casing soon. This is one of my favorites, actually. But nutrients and supplements, Tracy Harrison, the founder and lead educator of the school, actually names brand names and dosages. So which brands are contraindicated, there's no one supplement line that works best for everything. So you really need to know, which brands are best and what ingredients in these brands are working and which are not, and which are more effective. What type of lipoic acid do you want to recommend to a patient? So really nitty-gritty understanding of the details. The devil is really in the details of figuring these cases out. You're also going to learn lab work from a completely different perspective. Even if you are a medical doctor watching this, or a nurse practitioner or PA, you may have learned how to interpret lab work, of course, but not from a functional perspective. And this can save your patients a lot of money. You may not have to order any follow-on functional lab work, because if you have a rich understanding of how to interpret everyday annual physical lab work, even if everything's in reference range, you can glean so much information. But if you have this kind of knowledge, you may not need to order anything else, because you may have figured out enough in just that lab work to give people interventions that will work. And of course, they teach functional lab work as well. And oftentimes when I have very complex cases, of course, I have to have follow-on lab work that is functional, but I don't have to have my clients order, $1,500, $2,000 worth of lab work to get them good results. And I think functional medicine gets a little bit of a bad rap that way. I've had people come to me that have been to other functional practitioners, and they come to me with a binder full of $3,000 worth of lab work. And I'm thinking, boy, we didn't need to do any of this. There was very little we needed to do really to figure this out. So you learn all about functional lab work and everyday annual physical lab work. I know some schools don't even teach everyday annual physical lab work, and that's a big loophole. I think it really needs to be taught. And then there's a great mind-body course. So you get level 1 here, and level 2 in the second semester of all those same courses. And then you're also going to get all these follow-on deep dive clinical courses. So there's disease begins in the gut, there's the HPATG axis and thyroid and adrenal foundation. So you're going to get a free class on this just for watching today on the thyroid, mini course on it, and it's fabulous. I learned how to reverse type 2 diabetes in this reversing metabolic dysfunction class in an average of 3 months. So I've had probably 100 clients come to me with type 2 diabetes, and we just reverse it. It's just unbelievable how you're able to do that, learning what you're learning in this class. I've learned how to fully reverse autoimmune diseases with this class. We also learn asthma, allergies, etc. with the immune function, loss of tolerance, and hypervigilance. You learn all about viruses and everything you need to know about reversing autoimmunity. Mitochondrial function and cellular metabolism, fabulous class, and also toxicity, detoxification, and heavy metals. Now, I learned going through the program and even just testing myself that I had high levels of mercury and also mold toxicity, as well as halide toxicity, just testing myself in the lab opportunities in this class. So you're allowed to test yourself before you test your patients or clients. And that alone was worth the price of admission. I'm actually in full remission from my autoimmune disease now after going through the school and figuring out all the root causes. So that alone was worth the price of admission for me. This is Tracy Harrison. She is the founder and lead educator, as I mentioned. She's a chemist by background, has 3 degrees from MIT, absolutely brilliant woman. And I swear she eats research papers for breakfast. She's really helped me so much with just streamlining my practice because she does the research for me, which is great. But one of my favorite things is the open coaching calls. And this is where you or one of your classmates actually will present a case. So you don't have to do this at all, but whoever's presenting the case will show you the lab work and talk about the symptoms for that particular patient or client. And then we do Tracy will ask you, what do you all see in this? And you practice your skills in explaining what you're seeing in the lab work and in the symptoms, and making hypotheses about what you think is going on with that client or patient. And it's a safe space to make mistakes. And she'll then explain what she sees and what she thinks you should do, and the next steps that you should take, or maybe what lab work you should follow on lab work you should get for this particular client or patient. So you learn there's about a couple dozen of these going through dozens going through your tenure at the school, and you learn and learn and learn. And they're all about over 2 hours each of just learning what to do for this particular patient or client. And through practice and practice and practice and case study after case study, you're just learning how to do this. So you're not practicing on your clients and patients. I mean, who wants to go to somebody who's practicing on them? I wouldn't want to do that. I'd want someone who's confident and knew what they were doing before they met with me. So that's where you're going to get this complex case practice. Then there's puzzle piecing cases. And these were my absolute favorite. It was like a light bulb went off because I got to listen to Tracy doing intakes with actual clients. She had recorded those sessions. And so you get to listen to the questions she's asking, how she does an intake properly. And once I listened, I was a little embarrassed about how I'd been doing them because I knew I could have improved a lot. And ever since I started listening to these, people just, whenever I do an initial intake, they all sign up for additional sessions with me. They all go into practices, every single client, because they know I know what I'm doing. I know how to prepare for the case properly. When I sit down with them, they know I'm going to be able to help them. So they sign up. And that's just been one of the keys to the success of my practice is these puzzle piecing cases. And after you listen to the initial session, she then does about a 2-hour webinar on what she did for that client. We look through the lab work, we look through the symptoms, she maps them out. You get to practice your own mapping. You get to figure out which supplements she recommended and why, and what she did in her sessions with this particular client. So you learn how to implement this. And I gained so much understanding going and listening to these puzzle piecing cases. And there's about a dozen of them going through the school you get to listen to and learn from. So it's super, super helpful to me. And then there's the clinical treasure chest. Now, I use this actually every single day. It's a search bar. So you can search, in this case, I searched lupus, and this is the answer I got. So this is a question a student asked about lupus, and then the answers that Tracy gave after countless research. She has a whole research team that does answers to questions. And there's tons and tons of research that goes into each answer. So you always feel confident, even if you haven't worked with a certain condition before, you can look it up here or look it up on the Facebook group, which I'll explain in a minute. but you're going to get interventions and case pearls and really a deep understanding of how to help each client, no matter what the situation is and whatever their health condition is. You always feel confident that you can help them. And then there's a clinical collaboration forum. These are small group collaborations. So you're going to be in a small group of, say, a dozen to maybe 15 in your group, and it's led by a graduate or advanced student in the school. So you can bounce ideas about your practice. You can talk about a case that you're working on that you might be stuck on. You can get strength, and it really is wonderful to meet with these groups. You meet about once or twice a month, and you get to know the people in your group, and you get to be friends with them, and really help and support each other as you're building your practice. And it's really wonderful. I led these groups for about a year, and it was so much fun. But people can you can pick the brains of your fellow students and the graduate leading it. And then I was telling you about the forum. This is a Facebook group just for students. It's not your average Facebook group. It's actually monitored by about half a dozen graduates that will answer your questions. So if you have a client coming in later that day and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck on this, I'm not sure what to do, you can put your question in and get answers. And I love this because I know one of the practitioners, a nurse practitioner I know, had told me she put a question in our forum, and she had been to another functional medicine school and put a question in their forum. In SAFM forum, she got an answer within 45 minutes. In the other forum, it took her 6 weeks to get an answer. So she felt like the support is just so much more, I guess, responsive than anywhere else. And she had been to a couple functional medicine schools and has told me that this school actually blows away the other ones that she had gone to. So that was really good to hear. And I hear that from a lot of practitioners who have been to multiple functional medicine schools. They felt like they got good information. It was like great instructors and brilliant instructors. And they're like, this is great. This is great. I love the instruction, but they felt like when they got out, they didn't know how to use functional medicine effectively in their practice. And that is not acceptable to Tracy. She actually went to other functional medicine schools and felt the same way. While she was very grateful for education, she felt like she got out and didn't know how to use it effectively. So she went on to do tens of thousands of hours, multiple tens of thousands of hours of her own research, and put everything into the school, and has a very successful functional medicine practice herself, and took all her experience and education and put it into this school. And there's just nothing else like it that really better prepares you to be able to do this work. So the other thing I love about the school is that you have multiple ways of learning. You're going to get a webinar in every class. Everything's recorded, even the live classes, so you can always listen to the replay. But you also get written transcripts, shareable slides, which I use every day in my practice. I can actually use these slides to make my own presentations or bring up a slide to explain something to a client. And when the client or patient is educated and they understand why you're making the recommendations you're making, the compliance goes through the roof. So this is one of the reasons why I'm so successful, because my clients comply because they understand why I'm telling them to do what I'm telling them to do, why I'm recommending what I'm recommending. And I know that if you just tell them, do this, they're not going to do it. Maybe they'll do it for a few weeks, but they're just not going to stick with it. Whereas if you explain to them and educate them, they are going to comply and get breakthrough results. So you're going to get all these materials, but one of the things I really love is the done for you patient client handouts. So you can actually put your own logo on these handouts. There's dozens and dozens of them. And it'll save you so much time in putting together your own handouts and your own follow-up notes. You can just use these and put your logo on it and give it to your clients. So it really raises your level of professionalism. And this alone, again, is worth the price of admission. Just having these handouts is just an incredible asset. And not to mention the highly curated research links. So Tracy, like I said, has done tens of thousands of hours, maybe hundreds of thousands with the whole clinical research team that she has. And they take only the best most poignant articles of research that will help you to be able to support your patients. So if you want to take a deeper dive, you're just going to go into the research that she feels is best for you to go into, and is best going to help you in your practice, the best things to share with your clients or patients, et cetera. So it's super helpful. And as far as additional support, we have student experience coaches. This is great customer support. It's almost like a guidance counselor to help you through your process. But we also have custom consults. So I have people that I'm actually a teaching consultant for the school now. So practitioners can meet with me for 50 minutes to go through a client or patient case with them. And if they're stuck on something, or even as far as any questions they have, they can go through their own labs with me and ask questions. So you can bounce that off. It is a slight additional charge, but it's not very expensive to do. So that's a great resource too. And then we have a AFMC certified site. So once you get the certification, you get into the database and people can search it and find you. So I love that. I actually have had many clients over the years come to me through this database because I'm a graduate. And so they want to meet with me. Maybe they're looking for someone local, even though I do everything via Zoom, they still they found me on this search engine, which is great. And your certification is backed by a scientific medical review board here. You can see some pretty impressive names on this review board if you recognize any of these people. But the other thing is the school is ACCME accredited, as well as ANCC and NBHWC. So health coaches, nurse practitioners, doctors, PAs, nurses, all of you can get continuing education credits, and we are seeking out more continuing education credits for other medical professionals as well. So stay tuned for that. There's probably going to be some announcements on that, hopefully in the near future. But you get 50 CMEs per semester. So that's 100 CMEs or NBH, the highest level of NBHWC and ANCC. It basically fulfills all your continuing education credits for the year by going through this program. So it's really wonderful to get that as well. It's not your average CME credits. It's really fascinating, and it will really help your patients on a completely different level. But using and leveraging functional medicine in your practice is something I want to talk about now, because I've done this with group programs. I use MAPS for my success, and I've streamlined my success to avoid burnout. So I don't have to meet with client after client after client to make a good level of income and burn out in the process. So in the school, there's a clinical skills intersemester where you get one-on-one extended multi-session individual programs. So you're going to learn the model that I'm doing, basically, where it's a cash pay model. You have longer sessions with the client. My initial session is 90 minutes. Some people do 2 hours, some people do 1 hour. It's all how you want to set it up. And then each subsequent session is about an hour. I don't actually do them all myself. I've leveraged myself so that other practitioners in my practice do the follow-on sessions, but you can do them yourself as well. And I do some of them myself. And then you also can learn the managed care model. So let's say you're in a managed care situation, whether you're a nurse or a nurse practitioner or a doctor, you only have, anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes to spend with a patient. You're going to learn how to do this work within that model, which is really a missing piece. So many practitioners think they need to kind of quit their day job and go and do this as an entrepreneur. That's just not true. You don't have to. You can start doing this work in a managed care setting with an insurance model and get really breakthrough results for your patients. So just know that that's possible. You're also going to learn group programs. And in either of these modules, you're going to learn a group program either in a private practice or a managed care setting. This is a great way to leverage and help your patients on a huge scale. You can do massive group programs. And in fact, research has shown that people in group programs have much better outcomes than people who don't. And as you all know, there's the loneliness factor, especially in the wake of COVID, that people are coming to you sometimes just to have someone to talk to. And it's kind of sad, and they're not getting better. Whereas in a group setting, they have other people to talk to. There's a level of camaraderie. Everybody feels better. It's a community. And actually, James Maskell wrote a great book on this topic. It's called The Community Cure. I highly recommend it. But so you're going to learn how to do these. And what I've done is I have a couple group programs. I have one in the works right now. And I know Sachin's a fan of group programs as well. But I have one called Vanishing Vitiligo. And rather than working with people one-on-one, we're able to do this in a big group. And I've had over close to 50 people go through this program already. And it's just been so successful. And people are just so grateful for having gone through the program and getting great results in a group. You're also going to learn how to map. This is a map from a client of mine who has alopecia. His mom actually worked with me as well. I'll show you some of her results, but you can see some of the issues that he's having, and being able to map it out is like a shortcut. So I can look at this and remember what all his issues are on one sheet of paper and come up with a treatment kind of a course of action for him on this page. And so you're going to learn how to do this really effectively. And it saves so much time on subsequent visits. You'll be able to remember what the issues are with the person and how to correct them. And the forms that Tracy uses are so much more efficient. You don't need to have 12 pages of forms for somebody to fill out or 20 pages before they meet with you. It's just not necessary. You can still get tons of information from using her forms, which I do use. And it's so much more efficient. I don't have to spend hours and hours before each session figuring things out. Anyway, the other thing, as far as streamlining goes, the school tools have helped me to streamline my practice. That clinical treasure chest I was telling you about, where the search engine saves me hours and hours of research. Instead of going on Google and trying to read my own research or PubMed, I have the curated materials in front of me. I have the handouts. So it's just saved me hours and hours and hours of time. I'm also able to charge more for my one-on-one sessions. And I've added more practitioners to my practice. So I've really leveraged myself. And I used to charge very little for an initial session. In fact, I even did it free in the very beginning. Then I went to about $99 a session. Now it's about $800 for the initial session. So you can see that I don't need to meet with 8 people, 10 people a day to be able to make good money doing this work. And then the group, we offer group programs, like I said, for maximum impact. So these are ways that you can do this work without having to do so many one-on-ones all the time. Initially, you may want to do the one-on-ones so you get the practice and you feel comfortable with that, but pretty soon you'll be able to do more leveraging with that. And as more and more people come to you, you can leverage more and more, and you learn these skills in the school, which is really great. This is another case study. I had this client come to me, but what I loved about what she said is that coming to Jody, it was like an extreme college course in self-care and nutrition. Now I know what to do if my SIBO returns. So she had a terrible SIBO, but she's referred friends to me as well. In fact, this was a referral from a doctor who I had sent another client. Another client had gone to her. She is her primary, and I helped this person overcome a really chronic autoimmune disease. And this doctor asked if I would like to come work in her practice. And I couldn't at the time because I had just too many clients of my own. But I told her she's welcome to refer people out, which she did. And at one point, 20% of my clients were coming from this one doctor's referral. And this was one of those clients. She came to me from that doctor. So you could see how if you're good at what you do, people are going to come to you and want you to help them, whether it be the doctors. I have another doctor out on in Massachusetts in the Cape that keeps referring people to me. I don't even know who this doctor is, but he had a patient that had come to him that had got great results. So I keep getting referrals from Dr. Bob. So thank you, Dr. Bob, wherever you are. I appreciate the referrals, but just understand that when you're good at what you do, really good at what you do, you're going to get more and more referrals. Here's one more, if you can stand it. This guy had severe psoriasis. You can see this is his thumb up here. And within 5 months, this guy was extremely skeptical. He was on daily prednisone and was extremely skeptical about working with any kind of alternative medicine. Within 5 months, his psoriasis is completely reversed, and his pain is gone, which is amazing. He's off the prednisone and he feels fantastic. He lost 30 pounds in the process as well. So made a real believer about it of him. And he has since referred a whole bunch of clients to me. So it's nice, nice to have that kind of impact where this small town in Idaho, I have all these clients coming to me that I had never met anyone from Idaho previously. So it's really fun. And here's another client who has rosacea. She came to me recently to refer someone to me, and I asked her how her rosacea was. She says she's still clear, and she just wrote this beautiful testimonial for me. You could see she had ocular rosacea, and it was really awful. And her rosacea has been gone for 2 years now, which is wonderful. So investing in yourself, the focus on Western medicine is symptom suppression, diagnose and prescribe. Not that there's anything wrong with this model, in that for emergency care, it's really wonderful. It's life-saving, of course, and great for stabilization of symptoms, but it does not focus on causality, and patients, unfortunately, are not really getting well. They're living longer, but they're not getting vibrant and healthy. Whereas in functional medicine, we're focusing on root cause resolution. You're going to get referral after referral, better patient outcomes. In fact, JAMA did a study on this, and functional medicine outcomes were better than Western medicine outcomes. You can check out that study. You're going to have more opportunities coming to you and potentially much more financial reward. And we all know we are heading to the future no matter what. I know the program's longer, but that's okay. 2 years is coming, regardless of what you're doing. You could just continually get frustrated with your situation and not feeling confident and having maybe imposter syndrome, or maybe just continuing to work in a Western medicine model and continue with the frustration and burnout. Or if you wanted to start the school, which is what I recommend, things are just going to open up for you. Things get better and better, more and more opportunities, and opportunities for better income and better outcomes for your patients. So functional medicine is in huge demand right now. People are coming to me and we can't keep up with demand. We need more practitioners doing this work. We need more health coaches doing this work. We need more medical practitioners doing this work. And you will find that if you don't get in and learn this stuff, you're kind of going to get left behind, because I really feel like this is the future of medicine. They're not teaching this in medical schools now, unfortunately, as we all know that the research is largely funded by pharmaceutical companies, which are not evil. I'm not saying they are, but they're but it's the lobbyists are huge in the medical in the pharmaceutical industry. There's just so many lobbyists in Washington, controlling what Western medicine is doing, unfortunately. So I really feel like you will be much more marketable going through and investing in this education. But I want to thank you all so much. I can't recommend this school highly enough. It has been the best education I've ever had in my life. And I feel like I can help anybody with anything now, just about. There's very little I can't help people. Now, can I get everyone 100% better? Not necessarily, but if they feel 80% symptom reduction, they're usually very happy working with me. So, it's great to have this level of confidence. I can't believe that me, who struggled in chemistry in high school, is now, deeply steeped in this material, and I have a rich understanding of this, and I'm actually teaching it to some people as well. But I would love to answer your questions, and I hope you all decide to do this now. I would like you to use Sachin's link. We're going to give you a free course in thyroid, so you can check out Tracy. Make sure you like her teaching style before you apply. So take this course this week and make sure you love it, because I couldn't wait to listen to the next lecture with her. Like, she teaches it in a way that makes it easy to understand and implement, and there's a lot of repetition throughout the courses. So even if you don't get a concept right away, it eventually sinks in, which is great. But she is the sole educator in this school. There are some guest lecturers in some courses, but it is Tracy that's teaching it, and that's the only way I'd want it, actually. But make sure you love it. Make sure you take that course. And then if you'd like it and it resonates with you, go ahead and apply. It's a $50 application fee, and payments are as low right now. If you apply by February 8th, you're locking into that rate. As soon as you get in, you get, I think, a week to decide if you want to enroll, and you're locked into that lower rate. So payments are as low as $479 a month, which really, if you gain one or two private clients, even if you're in managed care, you could do that on the side. It will pay for the whole thing. So, and you can take your time going through the school. It's self-paced. So you can, put 3 study blocks a week in your schedule, or you can do 1 study block a week. You can decide how you want to pace it. So you can do it as much as you want. I remember I was going through it thinking it would take me longer than it would, because I couldn't wait to listen to it. I was like on fire. Every lecture was like blowing my mind. So I couldn't wait to listen to the next. So I'd like to go through and answer questions now. There's so many questions here, and I'll try to get to all of them, but I know we're going to run out of time here. So if you, I'm in your group, and if you want to post them on the Facebook under this video, I can get to more of them. But we're getting some love here saying, Sachin, thanks for setting this up. You can, the link to the thyroid function course is there. Okay, so let me see if there's any questions. Let's see. So Amy's asking, she's a coach, not a practitioner, rather functional. She said that if she's not trained clinically, is that okay? And Amy, I'm a health coach. I'm not a practitioner either. I have no medical training at all. So yes, as a coach, you can do this, but you have to have worked with at least 8 clients before starting SAFM. And actually, I wouldn't have gotten in years ago. That was not a requirement, and I had only worked with a few clients, so I probably wouldn't have gotten in. But even if you worked in a group where you have 5 people in a group, that counts as 5. So go ahead and apply if you've worked with at least 8 clients in the last year. We just new health coaches are not allowed in the school, because you're going to be in there with medical practitioners who may be more advanced. Even the coaching calls, you're going to do some beginner ones and advanced ones right in your first semester, so you can learn what you can from those advanced cases. And it's great for those of you who have already had functional training. And definitely take the free class, because you want to make sure that that's resonates with you. And I would go ahead and apply if you check the boxes there. And you have to have some background in biochemistry. You can message the school and ask for some resources on that. It's just before you start the school, make sure you have an understanding and like brush up a little bit on, a little bit, just basic knowledge of it. I didn't have a rich knowledge of it starting out, but a basic knowledge is good. Okay, so oh, Heather's on with us, and she went to IIN and she wanted to go deeper. So she went ahead and went to SAFM and graduated last year. Congratulations, Heather. I know you've had a great experience in the school. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. Sachin, do you see any more? I don't know if you want to pepper in any questions here.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. And I would say that, it's so important and often so overlooked how our confidence and our clarity and our certainty, how important that plays a role, not just in our success, but the client's success. And ultimately, what people are buying is our certainty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier for us to have that if we have the right tools. And I loved everything that I'm hearing. I wish that I had a tool like this much earlier in my journey, because I'm sure it would have accelerated it even further. So I'm grateful that we can, bring you into our community and share what SAFM is doing. And I've heard nothing but great things. So we have a few graduates from SAFM that are in our program, like Annie's in our program, and
My friend
she's like a
Lisa's
rock
in your
star. She's like,
program too.
yeah. And she's, what's really cool about Annie specifically, since she's on this call, is like, she's, really risen to the top in our community as well. So I know that the school produces amazing students that are go-getters and people that, almost instantly take on a leadership role because of the certainty and confidence that they have, that they can put their message out there and help people. And when you combine that with even some marketing, right, that's like putting gasoline on your business. It just, in a good way, it just takes off very, very quickly. But if you've got great marketing, but you don't have, clarity, certainty, confidence, then you may not even get past that person saying yes, because of how you show up on that call. So I think that anything to build our clinical confidence and our certainty is going to only create better outcomes, and you get better buy-in from your clients as well.
Definitely. And I think that just investing in yourself makes so much sense. People that come to your program are getting such great results. I know my friend Lisa is a nurse and she works with cancer clients and patients. And going through your program, she's learned so much about building her practice. And then the referrals she's getting from SAFM, she's just really been able to do this work full time, which is wonderful. And she loves it. So I have a lot of friends that have gone through your program as well. And just the combination is like, brings your practice through the stratosphere. Really, you get all the clinical knowledge on one end and all the business help on the other. But also, I just want to mention, Shay says that SAFM has been a game changer for me personally and professionally. Personally, I put my own asthma into remission after 2 months of starting the school. I didn't tell anyone until it was confirmed with her doctor, who gave her a high five. And she's now been off her inhaler for 5 years. She did a lung function test, and the doctor said it's gone. And professionally, she's been able to do so much more with her clients. She says she feels blessed to work with those clients, she's beyond grateful for the education she's received, along with the community resources she's connected and supported her on a journey. Her practice has grown to a full practice, word of mouth. Good for you, Shay. That's wonderful. Actually, Annie says that she was able to heal her Lyme and co-infections through the program too, which is great. And she was sick for 16 years. So, ooh, good for you, Annie. And I will say, I just want to say on a personal note, not only have I put my autoimmune disease into remission, but I feel more energy now in my 20s than I did in my 20s. I'm not in my 20s. I'm in close to 60, that I'm close to 60 now. And I have, my brain fog is gone. I feel so much better. And I was starting to get better going through learning nutrition and learning. And I'd been like on a really good, solid nutrition program for about a decade before I started SAFM. And I will tell you, this has been just taking me to a completely different level. I feel like I look younger. I feel better. I feel more energy. There's everything in every cell in my body is working better because of what I learned in this school. Imagine what I've done to help my family and the clients that come to me. I mean, it's amazing. Heather's saying she loved the case practice and live calls. They're her favorite. Mine too, Heather. I love those. Just seeing if there's any more questions here. Question about the initial intake. Do you use NutriQ or another? So the initial intake, you can use anything you want, but SAFM in the very first disease class gives you their intake forms that they use. And I use the exact same form, and I've modified and added a few extra questions that are more pertinent to my own practice. But you can use, I recommend their forms. I think they're better. And just, I remember years ago, I took my husband to another practitioner who gave him 25 pages of forms to fill out before we met with her. I'm like, how does she have time to go through all this? There's just no way she could have possibly gone through all that unless we were the only patient she was taking all day. So, they really streamline the forms, which I think is great. And then you get update forms. So I always have my clients fill out the update form. I use Practice Better. I use the software. I don't know if Sachin has a link for that he can put in, but you can use that. You can use the software and put it into your software too, if you use software. What bodies do you recognize certification? So for doctors, nurses, and what are they? PAs, ACCME accreditation. So you get 50 CMEs per semester, total of 100. For nurses, it's ANCC accredited, and for health coaches, it's NBHWC accredited for continuing education credits. It's not a certification for NBHWC. It's if you have that certification, you need to keep up your continuing education credits. You can get the entire year taken care of, or 2 years basically taken care of. And so, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on. I hope you all decide to apply. If you're on the fence about it, you will never look back. I have people coming to me that, I see them at there's a retreat once a year for SAFM, and I get to meet everybody, and people come over to me and say, they hadn't heard of it, or maybe they had heard it and they were on the fence and they decided to do it on my recommendation. And they've told me like it has completely changed their practice. They are so grateful that they met Tracy. It's like a tribe. It really is a wonderful, warm tribe, much like you have, Sachin. I think there's a lot of serendipity and a lot of really wonderful people. I've met some of my best friends through the school, and they're all over the world. So, but we all get together at the retreat. And even if you don't, it does not feel like an online community. You get to meet on Zoom with your small group collaboration. And it's just, like I said, the best thing I've ever done professionally by far. So she's the best teacher I've ever had. And it's just changed my life. And I hope you decide to join me. If any of you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. I'm Jody Berwick Franklin, Burwick. My first name spelled Jodi. So Jody Berwick Franklin on Facebook. Feel free to message me or ask, just put your questions in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them as the day goes by, or my team can answer it as well.
Awesome. Jody, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your time and beautiful energy with our community. And for those of you that are feeling called to, I highly recommend that you take her up on the offer that SAFM has provided for our community. And we're so blessed to have this partnership with them and support the amazing work that they're doing. And grateful for Jody for sharing her story. And it's great to see your success, and it's even more wonderful to see that you're so excited for other people to have that same level of success and service to their community. So thank you for being such a great leader as well.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And for those of you who have done other functional programs, really look into this and consider it, because it will fill in the missing pieces. It's like a graduate level of functional medicine. So it'll fill in those gaps and make you a better practitioner. But thank you so much, Sachin. I appreciate everything. And we appreciate you so much.
My pleasure. Have
All
an
right.
awesome day,
Take care,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.